In the ancient kingdom of Iluorin, where golden savannas stretched beyond the horizon, Queen Mother Bemisola lay in labor under a blood-red moon. The kingdom had waited 7 years for an heir to secure the royal bloodline. As her cries echoed through the night, something extraordinary happened. A second moon rose alongside the red one, silver and full, casting double shadows across the land. The wise women attending the birth gasped. This was a powerful sign from the ancestors. The first child comes, announced Iluorin, the eldest midwife. The baby's cry pierced the air, strong and fierce. But before they could celebrate, Queen Bemisola cried out again. Twins! The second baby emerged under the silver moonlight, quieter but with ancient wisdom in his eyes. Following sacred tradition, the firstborn was named Taiwo, meaning the first to taste the world. The second was called Kehinde, the one who comes behind. King Adoni wept with joy as both babies were placed in his arms. The kingdom was secure, the royal line would continue. But as celebration began throughout the land, Iluorin pulled the queen aside, troubled by a vision she'd received during the chaotic birth. Guard well the secret you do not yet know you carry, she whispered mysteriously, then died 3 moons later, taking her knowledge to the grave. 23 years passed, and the royal twins grew inseparable. Like two halves of one soul, Taiwo and Kehinde completed each other in ways that amazed all who knew them. Each morning began the same way. Taiwo would wake first in their shared chambers, lying quietly until his brother sensed his wakefulness. "You're thinking too loudly again," Kehinde would say without opening his eyes. It woke me. This perfect understanding never ceased to amaze them. After dressing in simple cotton wraps, they'd head to weapons training with Balagan Ogundipe, their scarred instructor who accepted no weakness. "Today we train with staff," he announced one morning, handing each prince a wooden weapon. "A warrior's blade may break, but a wise man can turn anything into a weapon." The twins faced each other, their movements flowing like a practice dance. But Ogundipe frowned at what he saw. "Stop. This is theater, not training. You move like actors afraid to hurt each other." He stepped between them. "True brothers don't coddle each other. They demand excellence because they know the other is capable of greatness. Fight as if your kingdom depends on it, because someday, it might." Something shifted between the twins. When they raised their staff again, it was with new intensity, pushing each other toward excellence through respectful combat. The royal chamber smelled of medicinal herbs as King Adoni, weakened by illness, summoned his sons. His once powerful frame was thin, but his eyes remained sharp with royal authority. "My sons, I must speak of the future," he said, studying their worried faces. "My body grows weaker each day, though my spirit stays strong." Queen Mother Bemisola moved silently around the chamber, tension radiating from her as she listened to every word. "Tell me, what do you know of succession laws?" the king asked. "The eldest son inherits," Taiwo replied. "That has always been our way." "And which of you is the eldest?" "Taiwo, by minutes," Kehinde answered. King Adoni nodded slowly. "Minutes. Such a small difference, yet it determines who rules a kingdom. But what if there were other considerations beyond birth order?" The question hung heavy in the incense-filled air. Queen Mother Bemisola dropped her bundle of herbs, the leaves scattering like whispered secrets. "The council grows restless," the king continued. "They speak of prophecies, of signs that succession may not follow traditional patterns. Some mention bloodlines and spiritual trials." Both twins exchanged concerned glances as their father's cryptic words settled over them like a shadow. "Whatever happens, promise me this," King Adoni said, taking each son's hand. "Do not let anything destroy the love between you. The kingdom cannot survive hatred between royal brothers." The great market of Iluorin buzzed with activity as Taiwo and Kehinde made their morning visit. Colorful cloth fluttered from stalls while traders called out their wares, filling the air with rich scents of spices and roasted corn. "My princes," called Mama Folek from her plantain stall. "Come see my beautiful fruit." The twins had visited her since childhood. She treated them like beloved nephews rather than royal heirs. "This look adequate," Kehinde said, examining a plantain with mock seriousness. "Adequate?" Mama Folek clutched her chest dramatically. "These are the finest in all the land." As they moved through the market, the twins noticed something different. Conversations halted when they approached, resuming in urgent whispers after they passed. Groups of women stared meaningfully, and even children seemed unusually quiet. At the mask store, elderly Bobaton leaned forward conspiratorially. "My princes, the whole market speaks of prophecies today." The diviner Solep came at dawn, casting cowrie shells and speaking of the royal twins. "What did she prophesy?" Taiwo asked, keeping his voice casual despite the chill running down his spine. "She spoke of secrets that will divide what has always been joined. She said when the blood moon reaches full power, one truth will split the kingdom in two." Fragments of whispered conversations followed them, one twin not trueborn. "The Queen Mother knows the secret. The blood moon will reveal all." The market buzzed with excited speculation about mysteries they didn't yet understand. As the twins continued through the market, a soft but authoritative voice interrupted their troubled thoughts. "My princess." They turned to see a woman they'd never met, though something about her seemed familiar. She wore the white cloth and beads of a priestess, with intricate scarification marking her as someone of high spiritual standing. "You are Diviner Solep," Taiwo said. It wasn't a question. "I am. And you are the sons born under the double moon's light." "We've heard you're spreading prophecies about us," Kehinde said, straightening with royal dignity. Solep smiled mysteriously. "I speak only what the ancestors whisper to me. The spirits care nothing for our comfort when truth must be revealed." Without asking permission, she scattered cowrie shells onto the dusty ground between them. The shells fell in patterns meaningless to the twins but clear to her trained eyes. "The shells speak of division," she announced, her voice carrying clearly as market crowds gathered to watch. "Two sons, both beloved, but only one can claim the true inheritance of royal blood." "That's impossible," Kehinde said sharply. "We are both sons of King Adoni and Queen Mother Bemisola." Solepi's gaze pierced through him. "Are you truly so certain?" She gathered her shells and stood. "The blood moon approaches. When it reaches its peak, all secrets will be revealed, all lies will crumble, and this kingdom will learn which prince carries authentic royal blood." With those devastating words, she walked away, leaving the twins staring at each other with new uncertainty clouding their perfect understanding. Queen Mother Bemisola stood alone in her chambers, staring at her bronze mirror. The reflection showed a woman aged by secrets carried too long, worry lines around her eyes, silver in her braided hair, and deep sadness etched into her soul. Through the window, she could hear her sons discussing their encounter with the diviner. Their voices carried confusion and subtle tension that had never existed between them before. 23 years of protective lies, she whispered to her reflection. And now truth claws its way to the surface. Footsteps approached. Aya Agba, the elderly royal midwife and her closest friend, entered without ceremony. "They're asking questions," Aya Agba said. "The market women came to me, full of gossip about prophecies. They want to know if I remember anything unusual about the twins' birth." "What did you tell them?" Bemisola asked with trembling hands. "What I always say, that it was a night of wonder when the ancestors blessed us with two healthy princes. But they sense secrets in the air like animals sense storms." Bemisola moved to the window, watching her sons below. "Look at them. So different yet perfectly matched. Like two sides of one coin, each incomplete without the other." "You could tell them the truth," Aya Agba suggested gently. "Which truth?" "That one carries royal blood and one doesn't, but I don't know which. How can I destroy their certainty without offering definite answers?" Outside, footsteps approached their door as the twins returned, probably seeking answers to the strange prophecies they'd heard. "Mother." Taiwo's voice came through the carved door. "May we speak with you?" Queen Mother Bemisola exchanged desperate glances with Aya Agba, who nodded slowly with sad resolution. "Enter, my sons," she called, steadier than her racing heart. Both twins entered respectfully, but their faces showed the strain of morning's revelations. "We've heard disturbing prophecies in the market," Kehinde began. "Whispers about secrets concerning our family, mysteries about our birth and bloodline." Bemisola felt the chamber spinning around her. This was the moment she dreaded for over 2 decades. When her carefully constructed world of protective lies would finally crumble. "Sit," she said, gesturing to woven mat. "There are things you need to know. Things I should have told you long ago but lacked courage to speak." She gathered her strength for words that would change everything. "The night you were born was unlike any other. When the boundaries between physical and spirit worlds grew thin, prophecy and reality danced together like flames in the wind." Her voice broke with emotion. "There is truth in the diviner's prophecy. One of you carries royal blood by birth, and one of you is royal only through love, not through the bloodline of kings." The silence was deafening. "Which one of us?" Taiwo whispered. Bemisola looked at both her beloved sons and spoke the words that shattered their world, "I do not know." The admission hung in the air like smoke from a funeral pyre, changing everything between the royal twins. The devastating revelation hung between the twins like an invisible wall. For the first time in their lives, they looked at each other and saw not just their beloved brother, but a potential rival for their father's throne. "How can you not know?" Kehinde asked, his voice hollow with disbelief. "During your birth, I fell into fever delirium," their mother explained through tears. "The wise woman Aaloja received a vision from the ancestors, but she died before explaining its meaning. All I know is that something went wrong in the chaos of bringing you both into the world." Taiwo paced to the window like a caged leopard. "So all these years, we've lived not knowing which of us truly belongs on the throne." "You both belong," Bemisola said desperately. "You're both my sons, both raised as princes, both loved equally. Blood doesn't determine worth. But it determines legitimacy," Kehinde replied quietly, pain cutting through his voice. "It determines who has the right to rule, who the people will accept as their king." The twins looked at each other across the chamber, and for the first time, they saw not their beloved brother but a question mark. The knowledge poisoned the air between them like bitter smoke. "There must be some way to discover the truth," Taiwo said, his usual composure cracking. "Some test to reveal which of us carries royal blood." Aya Agba spoke from her corner. "Sometimes the ancestors hide knowledge because revealing it causes greater harm than preserving the mystery." But both twins had already made their choice. They would seek the truth, whatever the cost to their relationship. 3 days after their mother's revelation, the royal compound buzzed with whispered conversations. The twins still shared chambers and meals, but those closest to them sensed subtle changes, like the first crack in a precious calabash warning of greater fractures to come. At the weekly council meeting, King Adoni sat propped on cushions while elders and advisors gathered in the great hall. Chief Kola, a man whose ambition had grown with the king's declining health, sat at the king's right hand, his calculating eyes moving between the royal twins. "My king," Chief Kola said respectfully, "the people grow restless with uncertainty. They speak of prophecies and wonder about succession. Perhaps it's time for clear declarations about the future." King Adoni's gaze sharpened. "What declarations would you have me make?" "Simply this, that succession might be determined by more than birth order. Other factors could be considered: leadership ability, popular support, even legitimacy of bloodline." Murmurs ran through the assembled elders. Some nodded agreement while others looked uncomfortable with such direct discussion. "Are you suggesting there's some question about our legitimacy?" Taiwo asked, his voice carefully controlled. I suggest nothing, Kola replied smoothly. I merely observe that people ask questions. In uncertain times, leadership must provide answers. Elder Jekoyimfa, the most senior council member, cleared his throat diplomatically. Perhaps trials would address these concerns, ancient test of wisdom, courage, and spiritual favor. Let the ancestors themselves guide us toward truth. The twins exchanged meaningful glances, seeing political currents flowing around them, giving ambitious men the opening they'd been seeking. What manner of trials? Kehinde asked, his voice steady despite inner turmoil. Elder Jekoyimfa leaned forward with the authority of age and wisdom. Tests used since our kingdom's founding, challenges of leadership, courage, spiritual insight, and divine favor. Let both princes undergo these trials, and let their performance guide us toward truth. The blood moon approaches its peak, added Elder Ogondemu, his eyes intense with deep faith. The diviner spoke of secrets revealed when the red moon reaches fullness. Should not the trials coincide with that celestial event? Chief Kola nodded eagerly. Let the ancestors speak through both earthly tests and heavenly signs. The blood moon reaches its peak in less than 2 weeks, perfect timing for divine revelation. King Adoni looked at his sons, seeing strain in their faces, the way they held themselves apart despite sitting side by side. The weight of kinship and fatherhood pressed heavily on his weakened shoulders. What do you say, my sons? Are you willing to undergo such trials? Taiwo straightened with royal dignity. If it will put the kingdom's doubts to rest, I accept. As do I, Kehinde added, determination marking his character. Let the trials prove what bloodline cannot, which of us is better suited to rule this kingdom. Then it is decided, King Adoni said, though sadness colored his voice more than resolution. Let the trials be prepared. Let our people witness tests that will determine not just who sits on the throne, but whether the bonds between my sons can survive the truth they seek. As the council ended, the brothers walked from the great hall with careful distance between them, two people learning to see each other as rivals rather than allies. The sacred grove of the ancestors lay deep in the ancient forest bordering the Iluorin kingdom. Massive Iroko trees stretched branches scoured like wooden prayers, their trunks so wide that 10 people holding hands could barely encircle them. Here, the living communed with the dead, and ancestral voices guided those wise enough to listen. Babulawo Ifetond, the kingdom's most revered spiritual leader, moved through the grove preparing for the trials. His white robes rustled as he checked each shrine that would play a role in testing the royal twins. The ancestors are restless, he murmured to his assistant, young priest Adebayo. Can you feel it? The very air trembles with anticipation. In the center of the grove, a circular clearing was prepared for the main trials. Sacred symbols were drawn in white chalk, and shrines to various orishas were positioned at cardinal points around the circle. The shrine to Ogun would test courage and fighting spirit. The shrine to Oromala would challenge wisdom and judgment. The shrine to Shango would measure justice and leadership ability. But it was the fourth shrine that troubled Ifetond most. The shrine to Esu, the trickster god guarding crossroads between truth and deception, would present each twin with choices revealing their true character. Esu's tests were notoriously unpredictable, even the virtuous could find themselves trapped by hidden flaws. As evening approached, both twins completed ritual purification and were led to separate huts where they would spend the night in meditation and prayer, forbidden to see or speak to each other until dawn brought the trials that would change everything. In their individual huts on the edge of the sacred grove, both twins lay on simple sleeping mats, staring at thatched roofs while listening to night sounds of the forest. Night birds called with almost human voices, and wind rustled through great trees, carrying scents of earth and sacred fires. Taiwo reflected on recent revelations. All his life, he'd accepted that he would become king simply because he was born first. The possibility that he might not be the legitimate heir forced him to examine his own desires for the throne. Did he want to rule because it was destiny, or because he genuinely believed he could serve the kingdom well? If the trials revealed that Kehinde was the true heir, would he step aside gracefully, or would pride and ambition corrupt his love for his brother? In the neighboring hut, Kehinde wrestled with similar questions. He'd always been content serving as his brother's advisor, never questioning the natural order placing Taiwo on the throne. But faced with the possibility that he might be the legitimate king, he wondered if his acceptance of the secondary role had been wisdom or cowardice. Was he truly prepared to lead a kingdom? Did he have spiritual authority to intercede with ancestors on behalf of his people? And if revealed as the true heir, how could he take the throne from his beloved brother without destroying their relationship forever? Tomorrow would bring answers to questions that had haunted their family for 23 years. But tonight, for perhaps the last time, they could still believe they were simply two brothers who loved each other more than power or prestige. The blood moon was rising, huge and red, casting ominous light over the sacred grove where Iluorin Kingdom's future would be decided with the coming dawn. Dawn broke over the sacred grove with ethereal light filtering through an ancient canopy. Drums began their deep rhythm as the kingdom gathered to witness trials that would determine their future. King Adoni, despite his illness, sat on a portable throne carried by servants. Queen Mother Bemisola stood beside him, her face pale with anxiety. Babalawo Ifeton raised his carved staff as sacred fires were lit around the clearing. Let the trials begin. First, the test of faith to guide their hands. The ancestors will protect the righteous, Ifeton intoned. Choose now. Without hesitation, both twins reached for their chosen masks. Taiwo's hand emerged holding a carved wooden snake, harmless but requiring the same courage as reaching for the real serpent. Kehinde's mask contained nothing but air, yet his willingness to risk death showed equal bravery. Both have passed the test of courage, the Babalawo announced. Neither flinched from danger, neither showed fear in the face of death. The gathered crowd murmured approval, but Chief Kola looked disappointed. He had hoped one twin might fail, simplifying the succession question. The first trial reveals nothing, he said quietly to his supporters. We must wait for tests that truly distinguish between them. But Babalawo Ifeton had expected this. Courage was the easiest virtue to test, and both princes had been raised as warriors. The real trials lay ahead, where character would matter more than training, where hidden truth would emerge like water from a deep well. The second trial began as the sun reached its zenith. At Oromola's shrine, the god of wisdom and divination would test the twins' judgment and insight into the hearts of their people. Behold, Ifeton announced, 3 supplicants approached the throne seeking royal justice. Each prince must hear their cases and render judgment. The ancestors will guide the truly wise. The first case involved 2 farmers disputing over a boundary stone. Both claimed their grandfathers had placed it correctly, both provided witnesses, both seemed honest. Taiwo listened carefully, asked pointed questions, then proposed a solution: let both families work the disputed land together for 1 year, sharing the harvest equally. If they can cooperate, the land belongs to both. If they cannot, it returns to the kingdom. The crowd murmured approval at this wisdom. Kehinde faced a different challenge, a merchant accused of cheating customers with false weights. The merchant wept, claiming poverty forced him to feed his children, while customers demanded punishment. Kehinde studied both sides carefully before speaking. The crime is real, but desperation drove it. The merchant will make full restitution, work without wages for those he cheated until all debts are paid, then receive royal assistance to rebuild his business honestly. Again, the crowd approved. Both princes show wisdom beyond their years, Elder Jekoyinfa observed. They understand that true justice considers circumstances, not just laws. But Chief Kola frowned. Pretty words and clever solutions. Let us see how they handle real challenges to their authority. The trials were proving both twins worthy, which served no one's political ambitions but the kingdom's good. As afternoon shadows lengthened, the third trial commenced at Shango's shrine. The god of thunder and justice would test each prince's ability to inspire others and make difficult leadership decisions under pressure. Each prince will command a group of young warriors in a mock battle, Ifitan announced. But here is the challenge: they must achieve victory while protecting a sacred vessel filled with precious water. Break the vessel, and fail the trial. 20 young men were divided equally between the twins. Both groups received identical weapons and faced the same objective: capture the opposing flag while safeguarding their water vessel. Taiwo gathered his warriors in a tight circle. We move as one unit, each protecting the others. The vessel stays in our center, guarded by our strongest fighters. Victory means nothing if we fail our sacred duty. His methodical approach worked perfectly. His warriors moved like a single organism, their formation never breaking, their discipline absolute. They captured Kehinde's flag through patient maneuvering and coordinated strikes. Kehinde chose a different strategy. "We'll use speed and surprise," he told his warriors. "I carry the vessel myself, staying mobile, while you create confusion in their ranks. Trust me to protect what matters most while you achieve our goal." His bold approach nearly succeeded. His warriors fought with inspired fury, responding to their prince's personal courage. But in the final moments, as Kehinde darted between opponents, his vessel slipped from sweat-slicked hands. It should have shattered on the rocky ground, ending his trial in failure. Instead, one of his warriors dove desperately, catching the precious container just before it struck stone. "Both princes pass," Ifitan declared. "One through discipline and planning, one through inspiration and personal sacrifice." Both protected what was sacred while achieving their goals. The crowd cheered, but uncertainty grew. How could the kingdom choose between such equally worthy leaders? As the blood moon began its rise, turning the sky deep red, the final trial commenced. At Esu's shrine, the trickster god would present each twin with choices that would reveal their deepest character. "This test is different," Babalawo Ifitan warned solemnly. "Esu offers what you most desire, but always at a price. Choose carefully, for the trickster reveals truth through temptation." Taiwo approached the shrine first. A figure appeared in the smoke from sacred fires, neither male nor female, young nor old, beautiful yet disturbing. "Prince Taiwo," the figure spoke in a voice like rustling leaves, "I offer you certainty. Know now that you are the true-born heir, that royal blood flows in your veins, that the throne is yours by right. Accept this knowledge, and I will ensure your brother willingly steps aside, content to serve as your general. You will rule in peace, unchallenged, legitimate." The temptation was overwhelming. To know the truth, to end uncertainty, to rule without guilt or doubt, everything Taiwo had ever wanted. "What price do you ask?" he said carefully. "Only this: you must never reveal to Kehinde that he is not truly royal born. Let him believe the trials chose you through merit alone. Let him live and die thinking he was a true prince who simply lost in fair competition." Taiwo stared at the figure, understanding the trap. Accept, and he would know the truth but could never share it with his brother. Their relationship would be built on his knowledge and Kehinde's ignorance. "I refuse," he said firmly. "Truth shared is better than truth hoarded. Whatever I am, whatever my brother is, we will face it together or not at all." The figure smiled and vanished like smoke in the wind. Now Kehinde faced Esu's test. The trickster figure reformed in the sacred smoke, its features shifting like water in firelight. "Prince Kehinde," it said, "I offer you justice. Know now that you are the true-born heir, that royal blood flows in your veins, that the throne belongs to you by right of birth. Accept this knowledge, and I will provide proof that will convince the kingdom. Your brother will acknowledge your legitimacy and serve you faithfully." Kehinde felt his heart race. To be the true heir, to know his place was secured, to rule with legitimate authority, it was everything he had never dared dream of. "What price?" he asked, though he already suspected. "Simply this: to claim your birthright, you must publicly declare that Taiwo is not royal born. You must strip him of his princely status before the assembled kingdom. He will retain wealth and position, but never again will he be considered your equal. Kehinde stared at the shifting figure, seeing the cruelty in its offer. Yes, he would gain the throne, but only by humiliating his beloved brother before their people. I refuse, he said without hesitation. A crown gained by destroying my brother is not worth wearing. If I am meant to rule, let it be through merit, not through diminishing the one person I love most in this world. The figure laughed, a sound like wind through dry leaves. Interesting. Both princes value their bond more than their ambition. Perhaps the ancestors chose wisely after all. It vanished, leaving Kehinde alone at the shrine as the blood moon reached its full power overhead, casting crimson light across the sacred grove where truth waited to emerge. As the blood moon hung full and red above the sacred grove, Divina Solep stepped into the center of the clearing. Her white robe seemed to glow with inner light, and her eyes held the otherworldly gleam of one who walked between the realms of spirits and mortals. The trials are complete, she announced, her voice carrying clearly through the assembled crowd. Both princes have shown courage, wisdom, leadership, and virtue. Both have proven worthy of the throne. Chief Kola stepped forward impatiently. Then tell us which one carries true royal blood. The kingdom cannot have two kings. Solep smiled mysteriously. Cannot it? The ancestors have spoken, and their message is not what anyone expected. She raised her hands to the blood moon overhead. 23 years ago, I received a vision during the royal birth. I saw confusion in the bathing hut, I saw identities uncertain, I saw a secret that would divide the kingdom. But tonight, under this blood moon, the ancestors have revealed the full truth. The crowd leaned forward, holding its collective breath. The secret is not which twin is royal born and which is not, Solep continued. The secret is that both princes carry royal blood, but from different sources. Gasps echoed through the grove as she continued. Queen Mother Bemisola, in her fever state during birth, spoke words of prophecy that revealed a truth she herself did not understand. These twins are brothers not by blood, but by destiny. One is the son of King Adoni, the other is the son of his brother, the prince who died in battle before either could know the truth. The revelation struck like lightning. King Adoni had indeed had a brother, Prince Adebowe, who had died heroically defending the kingdom's borders shortly before the twins' birth. Both carry royal blood, Solep declared. Both have legitimate claims to the throne. The ancestors chose not one heir, but two. The sacred grove fell silent as the implications of Solepe's revelation sank in. Both twins were royal born, both legitimate heirs, both worthy of the throne. The kingdom that had feared civil war now faced an unprecedented situation, two princes with equal claim to rule. King Adoni struggled to his feet from his portable throne, his voice weak but clear. If what the diviner says is true, then the choice belongs not to the ancestors, but to my sons themselves. They must decide how to share what cannot be divided. Taiwo and Kehinde looked at each other across the clearing, and for the first time in days, the distance between them seemed to dissolve. The trials had proven what they already knew in their hearts, they were stronger together than apart. Brother, Taiwo said, stepping toward Kehinde, we have always been two halves of one whole. Why should that change now? The kingdom needs both of us, Kehinde replied, moving to meet him. Your wisdom and my courage, your caution and my boldness. They clasped hands in the center of the clearing as the crowd watched in amazement. We propose to rule together, Taiwo announced. Joint kings, equal partners, sharing the responsibilities of leadership as we have shared everything else in our lives. Let one of us handle matters of law and governance, Kehinde added, while the other leads our armies and protects our borders. Elder Jekoyinfo looked troubled. But such an arrangement has never been tried. How can a kingdom have two kings? The same way it can have two moons in the sky, Solep said with satisfaction. through the will of the ancestors and the love between brothers who value unity more than individual glory. The crowd began to murmur approval as the wisdom of the solution became clear. As the blood moon set and normal daylight returned to the kingdom of Iluorin, a new era began. The royal twins, now confirmed as joint heirs with equal claim to the throne, stood before their people not as rivals, but as partners in leadership. King Adoni smiled as he watched his sons address the gathered crowd. The ancestors have shown us that love is stronger than law, that unity is more powerful than individual ambition. These princes have proven themselves worthy not just of the throne, but of each other. Queen Mother Bemisola wept tears of relief as the terrible burden of her secret was finally lifted. Her sons knew the truth, they were brothers by choice rather than blood, but that choice had made their bond stronger than any mere accident of birth could have created. We will rule as we have lived, Taiwo told the assembled people. Together, supporting each other, drawing strength from our differences and wisdom from our shared experiences. When one of us is weak, the other will be strong, Kehinde added. When one faces doubt, the other will provide certainty. We offer you not one king, but two princes united in purpose. The kingdom celebrated as news spread of the unprecedented solution. Divina Solep smiled as she prepared to return to her distant village, satisfied that the ancestors' plan had unfolded exactly as intended. Chief Kola and his supporters found their ambitions thwarted by the very outcome they had tried to manipulate. Instead of division and weakness, their plotting had created stronger unity between the royal brothers. Years later, the kingdom of Iluorin prospered under the joint rule of kings Taiwo and Kehinde. Their unusual arrangement became a model for other kingdoms facing succession disputes. And the Night of Two Moons was remembered not as a time of crisis, but as the beginning of an age when love proved stronger than blood, and truth created unity rather than division. The secret that had threatened to tear the kingdom apart had instead made it stronger, proving that sometimes the ancestors' greatest gifts come disguised as their most challenging tests.